What's up, guys? Welcome to the Lucky Draw Podcast, episode number 24. Super excited for this one. I'm totally in the Pokemon vibes right now. I'm out here at Gen Con, so we're going to get some learn to play coming up really soon. But we got our week in review here. The first thing I wanted to start off with is to rest in peace, Justinbasil. I don't know if any of you heard, a strong player, pillar in our community. Judge, player, all that, had the site that I know everybody went to, I went to for my proxies for what was coming out. Definitely going to be missed, but I didn't personally will have too many interactions with him, but I definitely will hope that the site continues because I loved getting the proxies and everything and the early news. So,
yeah, RIP to R.I.P. to Justinbasil. Anybody who's been in the community for long enough knows that his site is top 3 for finding proxies, information, just general gameplay. He would throw his own personal deck list out there. He had his mats. He had just general knowledge and information that everybody could go find that was helpful for any level player.
And I know for us, it was a big site when we first started playing, and where it was just so much good information out there, just especially from a beginner player standpoint. It was huge because we had that easy access to deck lists. This was 3-4 years ago. Great access to a lot of deck lists that are out there, stuff that was harder to find, and really appreciated having everything out there and all the effort and work that he put into him. So it's one of those, I didn't know him personally, but definitely was a huge part of the beginning of ours, as well as us using a lot of the translation information from what he was putting out there, even in current stuff. So, really hate that, we lost him. Huge loss to the community, but, I didn't get to say, never got to meet him in person, but, thank you for all the work that he did. It was huge.
Yeah, not known in person, but known by his work. So definitely live on through that. Back to week in review. Got my little Gen Con Game Pass here. Excited to go do some learn to play this week, teach people how to play some Pokemon, like from all different aspects. We'll have constructed EX decks, building battles. Anybody that happens to be in the indie area and is happen to snag a path, definitely come on down and see us. Tiger, how was your week practicing cups, whatever you got? How was your week?
I've done a few challenges, done a hit up a cup as well. For strangely, the last couple events I've went to were randomly BO3s. A BO3 challenge, took second there. My significant other, Carly, she took first with her rogue deck. Then went to, congrats to Carly. She has 2 challenge wins this season. This is her first season, like, full on actually trying. Then went to a cup today. Very odd little place, with as little information going out without it sounding bad. Was capped at 8 players per division, whether they could hold more or not, because they did not want top cut. So that was definitely an interesting showing that they were avoiding top cut on purpose.
Yeah.
I did end up taking 4th place there, with 2-1, which sounds really weird because if we literally had another round, would have went to top cut to be able to play for finals. 0 players went undefeated there. First place was 201 because of a BO3 setting. And players, I don't know what's wrong with players right now, but all the BO3 events I've been to, they're all running to time. And it's hurting people in the long run.
And I think that, Tiger, I've seen a lot of that as well, and I think it's definitely seems like a carryover from rotation, because everything's slowed down so much play-wise that we've seen. And again, we don't get a ton of BO3 stuff other than regionals, but it seems like everything we've been to has been the same way, where it's like everything is slowed down, whether that's like the meta and play has slowed down so much, or like players slow down with the meta and we haven't picked back up to move towards that. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely there.
Right. The slowdown is affecting people still, which is weird that Badoo isn't even as prevalent as it was 2 months ago. Like, people are just still inherently playing slower. I don't know if it's to avoid misplays, if they're just newer players to the game, or just not understanding when to scoop, something we all talk about all the time.
We've had
But
multiple conversations on the time aspect. I'm sure we'll circle back to it eventually. That's for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, that's about it for me. I'm locking in a deck. I'm gonna go ahead because this is the only way I've known to lock it in 100%. I'm taking Charizard to Worlds.
Yep, and
We've
knowing
discussed
you
it, like,
enough, Tiger,
yeah.
one, it's not a guarantee. It's not a lock in because it never is a Tiger.
No, but I know we know 55 at least. We're definitely working kinks out on a lot of things. And getting some true black and white testing in. I know Tiger plans to test with Tim, who should be hopping on here any minute, and we'll get some talk about the women's prep they're planning and working on. But yeah, no, I get it. Zard is a good matchup. Dango's coming to the rise. I hate it because Zard is a very hard matchup for Dango. I mean, it can happen. I have beat one. Me and Tiger were talking about this matchup, but I really think this player had not read the card, to be honest, because there's a lot of things he could have avoided and didn't avoid when he was doing it.
Yeah, the Charizard versus Chi-Yu matchup is just one of the Charizard versus Chi-Yu. Charizard with Chi-Yu versus the Goldango
Yes.
matchup is one of the very good matchups that Charizard has been presented with.
He didn't
Guardy
play
has
it right.
always been favored.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes one misstep and the Goldango can overrun you, or just not understanding the line of how to use the single prizer to swing the matchups. But yeah, for Charizard, you've got Goldango, you've got Raging Bolt, you've got a 50-50 with Joltik, you've got a favored into Gardevoir, good matchup into Zardpolt, Miraidon. All the tier 3 decks are really good into you're like 50-50 to slightly favored into Grimmsnarl because of Turos and picnic baskets and max belts and everything else under the sun. You have a slew of tools that just make that matchup hard. I will sit on my throne and say what the hardest matchup for Charizard is not a deck specifically, but it is a little green dude with a free attack.
Yes.
Badoo. But so that inherently makes Dragapult a somewhat harder matchup. Slowpolt is 50-50. But Dusknoir Polt is just unwinnable. I will go ahead and say that, and I'm okay accepting one bad matchup now that we figured out how to fix the other bad matchup.
Well, I mean, that's then the going rate. I mean, it's Puerto Rico. It's numerous regionals during our workup. It's always been cool. This is what I'm going to play. I'm going to take that one bad matchup, not over tech for it, because then all you do is kill your consistency, and instead just accept that loss and know you're not going to face 7 of them.
100%.
So, Troy, your week, how was it?
It's been good. It's actually kind of funny, like thinking about like like a weekend roundup. But it's Wednesday, and we played a cup today, so it kind of feels like a weekend. So for us, we kind of took last weekend off. We pushed pretty hard the weekends before that, so we're kind of balancing out. Like, we pushed really hard to get to Worlds. We've also been pushing during the summer to try to level up and try to really work on some sequencing things and game planning, but also trying to have some fun and not burn the kids out. So, but now we've got Pittsburgh in a month, and we're fortunately it looks like we're all in for Pittsburgh, so registration went well. But we had our cup today. We had 3 of the 4 kids that played. All 3 played for the win in the final round, potentially, depending on how it went out. So unfortunately it didn't work out for us, but we had those shots, and that's all we asked for. Try to give us a shot every time, and we're going to get it more often than not. But if we don't, we're going to learn from it, and we're already
You're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, I mean, that's a basketball reference, wrestling reference. You're going to lose all the matches you don't show up for. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Correct.
we've already kind of talked through some game planning as to, what we could have done better, what we can look at next time, already talking Pittsburgh and, trying to get some game plans together for what we want to do there or how we want to face some different things. And it just, that's pretty much it right now is just trying to get the kids' heads on straight, try to let them have fun and be kids because ultimately if we fry them out and they're not enjoying what they're doing, then why are we here? So, just
Right.
trying to balance out all those things as a dad and, having fun
Yeah,
too.
that's true. Well, that's very valid week. Recharging is very, very important. I'm not one to say so. I know Tiger will speak up on that, but I do eventually have to recharge just like everybody else.
And what he means by that is eventually he just falls over and and dies on a couch somewhere.
That's fine. That happens too.
And then I'm up for another four
But
days, and we're good.
Troy, the with the girls going to Pittsburgh, if for whatever reason one of them has a good run, will that change your outlook for this year?
Um, Honestly, I'm not 100%. I mean, it would definitely make me pull it pretty hard because ultimately, for those of you who haven't heard, like we're going to step back just a little bit. Now we have had some good news with like my dad's health and stuff like that that helps out a little bit. But again, just point blank with a lot of people, we pushed really hard financially to try to get Worlds last year and we missed. And that doesn't change it because I'd do it again 100 times over to try to take that opportunity. But we also kind of have to look at, hey, don't put yourself in a bad financial decision just because you wanted to get work. So ultimately, it's kind of fallen in our favor a little bit in that most of the schedule right now is we just don't know a whole lot of stuff. There's just not a whole lot that's out there. So from a regional standpoint, we might pick it up in the spring if we get some more of those schedules that fall into place and stuff like that for us. But right now, for the schedule that we know Pittsburgh, we know Toronto in January, and that's a must go. Like we have to go to Toronto. We're a couple hours away. And then outside of that, like Vegas is probably too much financially, so we're probably going to not do Vegas. But it doesn't really, that doesn't change much for us. So once we get those extra pieces that we just don't know right now, we might change our plan. And take that breath from, oh crap, we just did a bunch of stuff and spent a bunch of money, and now where do we go from there? Figure all that stuff out, and then we might pick it back up in the spring whenever we get those extra pieces from Pokemon. But I don't want to ever say no, but we just
Never say
try to get
never.
those game plans together. And yep,
Never
exactly.
say never.
I knew someone was gonna do it. But other big news, I know Tiger is going to go on a little bit of a tyrant with this, and it's totally fine. That's what we're here for. The event locator is limited to 50 miles.
Yeah, that one of the first things that I decided I was going to rant about was this 15-mile radius. Stop it. Like instantly needs to be fixed. Go to 100, 150, 200. It needs to go back. Like I am not trying to individually look up random towns in the middle of Nowheresville to see if there's something within 50 miles of it, or go click on Pittsburgh because that's a bigger name city close to where I'm at, to where I have to look 100 like an hour to get to Pittsburgh, and then look for a 50-mile radius between there. But because I couldn't just expand it to a 100-mile radius, I missed something on the Maryland border, which could actually be closer for me. But I didn't type in Cumberland or whatever Frederick and looked from there. I went to Pittsburgh instead.
Yeah,
How about you? You guys on that one with the
that's
Shawn is not as much for you because you're not chasing, but this is a Troy question.
Oh yeah, that's a big one for us. Like we play on the weekends far more than we should. Not because like we desperately feel like we need the points, but again, we're trying to level up. We're trying to get some thought processes in with the kids. So, we live Altoona, PA is it's a larger small town. We've got 2-3 shops around here that run leagues, challenges, and cups. But in like a 50-mile radius, there's like 4 to 5 cups that are going to run in a 3-month period. So we have to look outside of that radius. And before it was like I'm constantly clicking on like that 200-mile radius and just seeing what's out there.
Mhm.
And, heck, I'll drive 2-3 hours for a good cup if I know good kids are going to be there. However, now, you're looking at it and you're literally just going, oh crap, what if literally I'm having to search for Pittsburgh, figure out what's in there. And then on top of that, the wonkiness of the layout. So you not only click on Pittsburgh, so then it gives you the listing of stores that you then have to click in the store to see what the date is. And it's just, man, it's like, I don't know. And again, Pokemon does so many things well. I don't know what person looked at this and went, yes, this is what we're doing.
This passed some review group, and I don't know how. I mean, like Tiger said, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I'm not chasing points. I mean, my leagues in Bridgeport and Morgantown that we go to and play to aren't going to change. I know where they are. When I tag along with Tiger and Farley, I'm usually a player from PR, and I mean, that's just what I do. But my biggest thing is that kind of makes it to where players need to know the stores because it also didn't show time, right, Tiger?
It did not show time. So it invests you in taking the time to look at the spot. So you have to find a city, find 50 miles in that radius, find a store, see if that store lines up with a day you can do it, and the time frame, which also means you need to get a hold of the store. So you could take 2 or 3 hours just to find a cup for a Saturday, which is not what people want to be doing. They want to be like, oh, it's Friday. Can I see if there's a cup in the morning within a couple hours? Sure, let's go do it. Oh, I have to write a spreadsheet, come up with a graph, telegraph all this, and call the store before they open to see if I can get there? No, I don't want to do that.
No, I mean, and we're fortunate enough that I have a group of professors. I mean, a bunch of them are out here playing other games than Pokemon right now because it's Gen Con. This is the one time we just don't focus on Pokemon. But back to my point is I'm fortunate enough to know them. So if Tiger wants to hit a cup somewhere, really, I'm one Discord message away from a professor in a certain area that I know and be like, hey, what cups are in your area? One I can shout out on here is Jim Squires. Many of you guys know him. Professor PokeDad on Twitter. I mean, definitely love the man to death. He's ride or die goat for sure. But like that's the example. I've been seeing a lot of his events through Facebook and Twitter and talking to him. So like I was getting ready to tell Tiger this. We're gonna plan to go down there. He's got a heck of a play area. It's in West Virginia sometimes, but more so Virginia. But my main point is you have to know that store. You have to talk to that person to get the time. I really hope that this gets fixed. I know it's not going to go away. People are definitely going to talk about it for a while.
Right, because like what professor or judge, TO, whoever has the time to be sitting and waiting for like a line of messages. Hey, what time's your cup? Hey, what time's your cup? Hey, what time your cup? Because it's going to be the same thing over and over and over.
Most
like
of them
they
have
expect
everyday lives,
you guys to
so.
have exactly to not use your everyday life and just be riding and waiting for this. Yes, most judges are normally employees of a store, but there are plenty that are not.
I was one.
Yeah,
I'm looking
absolutely.
to own a store, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just agreeing entirely. And again, I'm a judge. I've been judging for a couple of years here in the Central PA area and looking to, constantly grow our area. I don't make a dime. I'm still looking for those stores that do pay their judges, but I happily do it because again, just like Jim, I don't know whether Jim's paid or not, but great guy, does an amazing job with growing his community and working with not only the community of players, but also growing the judges in his area is huge. And we're working on doing that in our area as well. But again, whether we get paid or not, we're all happy to do it because it's just what you do to grow the sport that you love.
Love of the game. Love of the game. I mean, it doesn't matter what game we're talking about. Basketball, wrestling, track field, ice hockey, curling. I mean, I enjoy curling during the Olympics. Like you have a love for the sport. You're gonna pour into it regardless of what the output is. Go ahead, Tucker. What you got on that one? That was a funny one.
I was just gonna say, if you like watching the Maid Olympics, go for it. Curling, like out there scrubbing just a little bit at a time. It makes me think of like Oh, what is it? The girl from I think it's Simpsons or Family Guy or whatever. Oh no, not clean enough.
And
Tim,
that's
you
the
did
perfect
not come
time
into
for
a
Tim to
you
come
came
in.
with this conversation is just tanked at this point.
I mean, if
Yeah, we
Tiger's
were
leading the
talking.
conversation, that makes sense.
Well, Sean said something about curling,
Love it.
and I just
Yeah.
kind of laughed.
I don't know
And
that
we
that gives any more,
The Olympic
We
sport
were
curling to me is just the sport made for maids. Literally, can I clean the line fast enough so my little wannabe ball makes it to the circle?
Well, on that note, let's welcome Timothy Tipton to the podcast. This man is working out, getting his body right, so we had to give him some time. But we knew he was hopping in.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, so we just talked about our week in review. We were on the event locator. So before we hop on to the next topic, we actually hopped in at the right time because in the bros community, he was the one who found what I think is probably the best locator that we can use for right now that does go out to 250. But since he was the one who found it, not the founder of, but you still found it, bro. So you were the resource for us. So what do you think about the event locator right now?
Oh, Seagrove? Dude, so I love Seagrove's website. So Seagrove TCG, if you haven't used it before in any way, shape, or form, it was not only my
Technical difficulties. Hopefully he'll
last
come
season.
back.
That's
I
a
just
perfect face.
I'm talking about like for points. I used it for like points last season. So like if I was looking for championship points and looking where I was at, that's what I used. So when I saw that he also made this event locator, I checked it out, and it's actually decent. It links right to the Pokemon website once you click on anything. So I can't complain too much, and it actually goes further than the Poke Radar does. So I'll give props where props is due. I think it's better than Pokedata. Pokedata is kind of convoluted to use, so
Ooh,
this just makes it pretty simple. And I think anybody who is looking for a cup or a challenge, it's going to be the way to go until Pokemon gets their shit together.
And you said that's called Seagrove, like SEAGROVE.
Yeah, seagrove.tcg/ like event locator or something like that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
a
actually
Google
just hopped
search
on
will
there,
find it.
seagrovetcg.com, and it's literally just, he has 5 links at the top, event finders right there.
Yeah.
I've messed around with it a little bit, and not only that, one of the things that I love, again, as a parent, anytime we go there, it's, whatever the cost is times 4 or 5. The cost is literally in the top left of each listing.
Good stuff.
All
So
right.
I mean that's your alternative right now. I mean I know that's everybody's biggest beef, but that's the best way to find your events. Hopefully it will get better, as Tim said. Hopefully get their stuff together. I know Pokemon. Enough people are talking about it. It's probably going to change very soon. In my opinion, this went through a review group, and I don't think that review group is players that travel, and that's really the biggest difference here. Is the game is promoting travel with the way everything is the top X season push. It's promoting players like our top two at here to go to as many tournaments, not only to practice for World, which is another topic we'll get to, but to also start a head start on 26, so they're not losing out because they're practicing for the Worlds.
Speaking of which,
Go ahead.
Tim, where are you sitting at on CP for next year already?
Dude, I haven't even made it to a cup or a challenge yet.
Oh, he's just gonna show us up later. That he's gonna be like, after everybody's done with the race back to 0, he'll catch up eventually.
Well,
That's funny.
I've made it pretty clear this season. I'm taking since I started a full-time job, I am taking it a little bit easier the first half of the season because I don't have as much PTO to earn. Whereas next season, like going into January, I'll have 4 weeks of PTO to utilize. So I have to be a little bit more creative this season. And the big thing for me too is I have found this big love of coaching and mentoring young players and working with them at my league. So that's a big focus for me this season. Being able to actually host my first cup this season, August 31st, over at Epic Loot. I'm really excited about that as well. So if you find yourself in Ohio, definitely come check that out. So this season's really going to focus on how can I grow not only as a player and grow on this team, but also how can I grow as a judge. I think that's really important. I set out with one goal last season to make worlds. I've done that. So now what's next? That's what
Yep.
I'm thinking about.
Love it. It's always got to be goal oriented. If you're not goal oriented in what you do, even if you miss the goal, you have to relish in the progress of it. 'Cause without goals, you're just walking around this life aimlessly.
100%. Well, some of our goals are a little higher aspirations than others.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
my
Hey,
final goal after I'm done with competing is I need to buddy up with the casters. I would like to become a caster at regionals, even if it's just once. I would like to do casting. That is one of my Pokemon goals.
Lofty goal, man.
Yep.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
last little topic on the week is just the $80 regional costs. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter much. I used to play and have a kid play, so when I played, it was about $120, so that's just normal. But for the players, I mean, I know sometimes the mats don't turn around, the competitor kits don't turn around to cover that 80. A lot of them could. Sometimes they do. I mean, every now and again, a rare mat comes out that everybody wants, but in general, it's not. So, I mean, does that $10 bother you guys? That's really the big thing I'm asking.
Troy, I have as a parent, did the cost go up was it 40 last season for the kids as well, or is
It was-
it gone?
Yeah. So honestly, last year was the big change because it was $70 the year before. And then last year they dropped everything to 40. So again, I think I probably have said this before on here, but like last year when that happened, kudos to Pokemon because you're talking. Last year I brought 3 of my kids to several regionals. That would have been over $200 entry, and it ended up being $120. So huge savings there. Really, really helped out from a parent standpoint. This year they kept them the same at 40, so they didn't like. I wouldn't have faulted them. I mean, they still do pretty good pricing, of course. Like what you're talking about, Shawn, with the mats and stuff like that. At $40 definitely covers if you want to. Now I've got buckets full of mats over here because my kids aren't selling many of them, but it definitely has. It's been really nice as a parent, and I know you guys as adult players haven't quite felt that, but it's been really, really nice as a parent that they did keep that at a static number and super helpful to getting those fresh faces into the game. Now, if they would only keep the kids' limits a little bit higher, because no matter what the cost is, if the kids can't get into the regionals, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is the kids regional? Is Pittsburgh already sold out for kids?
I
It's not
checked
sold out at
earlier,
all.
it was not. Yeah, I think everything's wide open. So they've definitely upticked the metrics because last year it was like 15 minutes on everything, and it was all sold out on pretty much most of the regionals.
What are the numbers at right now?
3164. Yeah, 3164. Like I would say 40 minutes ago when we were pre podcast talking. So it was still
Now that's
open as
total,
that
not
time.
just this.
Yeah. I think we were assuming
that's total
3,500 was
numbers.
cap.
Yeah, that's my guess is 3,500 will be cap for TCG, which is
But
still
then,
a ridiculously big event.
Yeah, so Tiger, what's your point on the $10 upcharge? And then we'll get over to 10.
I mean, I'm not too in general, it's not that big of a deal. The biggest thing is maybe if they wanted to bring more money in, they go back to what they used to do with the swag levels, the VIPs and whatnot, where the extra $10 got you a dice, the extra $20 got you a backpack and a hat for the event, something like that. They want to make a little bit more money, give us some niche swag, and do that. Like I remember, what is it? One year there was a VIP 3 where you could get lunch. They gave you lunch, a backpack, an exclusive VIP lounge. All these things that you got just for paying an extra $30, which a lot of people would do that just because leaving the venue for food is hard. Finding seating is hard. So if they would want to do that, I don't see why they can't do a VIP package again. But just getting into the venue, the promo card and the mat is definitely not worth that. I do get that it's for prizing and things like that, but unless they're increasing how far the prizing goes down, 512 gets you 8 packs. Okay, cool, sure, whatever. But unless it's cash prizing, I don't see the need for the increase because Pokemon supplies a lot of the actual like physical prizing.
Pokemon supplies all of the judge payment and Pokemon pricing, player pricing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like, where is the extra money going to? If they're not giving us more for the event, like if you increased, let's just say Pittsburgh the last time was like 2,200 players total. We already put an extra 1,000 seats down. And if you're going to do an extra $10 on each one of that, they just increased by 3,000, what, $30,000?
Yeah, we did the math at your house before you brought me up here to meet up with people, and yeah, it was an extra $10. And just do the math, that's ridiculous on 3,000
Right,
people.
even at
$10.
Yeah, even just the extra 1,000 players from last Pittsburgh to this Pittsburgh is an extra 10K.
So
Like-
I'll play devil's advocate here because I don't know I've talked to this is let's kind of backtrack and cover both topics. One, the VIP levels, and then two, the cost of the tournament. So one, we have to look at who's doing the tournament, running the tournaments right now. It's Gaming Gen. And to give Gaming Gen credit, over the last year, towards the end of the season, they've done a significantly better job running the events than they did the beginning of the season. So I'm gonna give them 2 thumbs up for that. So that's great. Now the events they didn't run were some of the ICs. I believe day 2 actually coordinated the ICs.
Yes.
So that's something big to take into consideration as well. Now, day 2 did not do the VIP levels. The only organizer who did that was Overload. Overload was one of my favorite because they did all of that, but they were also the ones who pushed away the lunch break when the events got larger. That's why we don't have lunch break. So there's some give and take there. Now, when it comes with the venues being the cost going up, I'm thinking if they increase the cost, I'm not. The one thing I don't know is if Pokemon actually is the one paying for the judges, or if Gaming Gen is the one that has to pay the judges. So one thing we have to think about is the cost to actually pay the judges, because they do have to pay for the judges to come out, their hotels, and actually paying them. So I'm not sure if that's coming from Gaming Gen's budget, or Pokemon's budget. So that's number one. Number two, the larger venues do incur a larger cost, and it's not insignificant. It is quite significant to go from the size of the venue that they had then to if it's a significantly larger venue for this. Now that's not to say if they charge $80 in Vancouver and have the same size freaking venue, that's annoying. But one thing that Pokemon pushed, I don't know if you were in the professor seminar at EUIC last year, Shawn.
I wasn't.
But something they were really pushing for at EUIC last year is that Pokemon regionals and worlds and ICs, they want a consistent feeling. So when you go to a regional in Pittsburgh, it's like going to a regional in Milwaukee or West Coast. They want it all to be the same, whether it be consistent promos, consistent mats, the whole 9 yards. They want consistency. They want a little bit of variety, but they want consistency across the events. That's why if you notice, all three of the ICs, they had the same theme in the Pokemon Center, but the competitor kit, they made it a little different. Basically the same. It was Ogerpon, but just enough different that it entices players to be able to go and say, "Oh, I was at this IC," but if you go to the Pokemon Center, it's the exact same. They want to provide that consistency to players.
So to step in there a little bit, Tim, I think one of the biggest tests that we're going to see on exactly that is going to be this Milwaukee regional. So Milwaukee is one of the earliest ones in the season this year. However, Milwaukee was also the smallest regional we had in the U.S. Tiny venue. They caught us off guard because, again, we didn't sign up for it originally. And then we're like, hey, we'll wait for wave 2. And then wave 2 never happened for juniors. So, and it did for adults, but it was like 5 people from what, maybe not, but it was a very small wave 2. So I think really that true method to look at, hey, what is Pokemon doing to help grow that, whether it's budget and size and stuff like that, is what happens at Milwaukee. Because, again, Pittsburgh's a huge convention center. We had it 2 years ago. We had Baltimore last year. We know how big those things are. But that Milwaukee is like the true litmus test to me on seeing what they're planning on doing and what the availability is.
Yeah, agreed.
Correct. And this was changed.
So I was
So
just going to
this was
say,
changed after Monterey. Monterey, I still only paid $70 American for. So does that mean that this is just a North American thing?
Good
That they're
question.
$80 regional? Because it was like $70.11 American to go to sign up for Monterey. So
Yeah.
if it's just a North American increase, that'll make a lot of people upset too.
Yeah, to
That
cover up
this
a
was
little bit
just
what Tim said there too. So with he was right on two things. Pokemon gives the boxes to Gaming Gen, of course. That has to be from him. That's the only thing that makes sense. But the biggest change with the judge program from last year versus this, because I've done it really serious the past 2 years. Pittsburgh year 2023, 24, we were fending for ourselves on hotels. We were not sure if we were getting in, playing as players, and then getting refunds, and not getting paid W-2s or like getting paid wages that were on W-2s. That's the biggest change now is we do get paid. Now, whether some of that money comes from Pokemon, I don't know. I'm not speaking of, but I know Gaming Gen is who the employer is, and they have a payroll through a system that they have employed. Same thing with Day 2 and NAIC. They had Volt for anybody that was there working. I know there's a few people out there watching. Volt was what the setup was for that. I hope Gaming Gen gets on with Volt because that was like the most simplest, easiest. They had somebody on standby at all times to get you set up. I could go on for a while about it, but that's one of the biggest change to clear up on what Tim said. Is that is true. That's something to take in factor. Who's actually paying for what?
now I get it if like there's that significant increase of judges and things that come with that, but unless it's like the big test will be is this are we going to get a bigger venue for Milwaukee or are we going to get a bigger venue for Vancouver? If we're paying $80 for 1,200 people to get in there again, that is not going to that's not showing us anything other than Gaming Gen's trying to squeeze us for $10 more per person.
All right. Anybody got any other points on that?
Yeah, I'll kind of touch on this too. I think it'll be interesting to see how the regionals are done down in Latin America. So the big thing with Latin America too, it is a different company that runs all of those. It's not Copeg, it's another company.
Pharma Bean.
Yeah, and so $70 is still the cost down there, and I'm not sure if they've put anything out there. What a lot of people don't know, Pokemon doesn't control that cost. It is the regional coordinators, whoever is running that event. So Gaming Gen did make the decision to increase the price to $80. They were the ones who made the decision to increase it to $70 as well. That wasn't just Pokemon, and so um, there needs to be a level of transparency. I think the frustration that we've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Shawn. I mean, and I think this will also be the test for this is staffing. So I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of staff have been. It's been hard for them to get on. We've gotten like, for example, like they asked me to staff Vancouver the like 3 days before Vancouver, and only for one day. And I think a lot of that has come down to the budget constraints for them with needing to pay the judges and also pay for hotels for them as well. And also, I think it's a lot of mismanagement. Personally, this is going to really throw some people. I think they really have mismanaged how they're budgeting for the hotels because I think they could be saving a lot of money how they're doing the hotels. I don't really agree with how they do it. Like even for Worlds, a lot of the judges get rooms for themselves, and that's insane. If budget is a concern for them for some of these events, they could require judges to room with each other, which some judges might not like, but at the same time, if they want to decrease that cost, it is a reality that they could do.
Right, two
Agreed.
judges to one room seems fair.
Oh, absolutely.
That's paid
I
for
feel
you.
That's usually how they do it. Here, round three has sometimes three judges to a room with rotating shifts. Like somebody's here, not going to be here Sunday, so then they move out of that room and then they get their own room to kind of like make up for it. But I'm not going to lie, that is one place you could cut a little bit. I mean, last season, hotels were a little extravagant, in my opinion. I'm not complaining. Really, they're cool experiences, but yeah, there is definitely some budget cuts there. I don't mind to stay at a Days Inn, a Super 8, a decent Wyndham hotel that has breakfast. That was the biggest take I hated. We didn't have breakfast at all these places because they were schmoozy. They were uppity way, not in a negative way, but they had a restaurant. If you have a restaurant, they do not have your breakfast because they want you to go to the restaurant.
What is it? Another one of the, again, with what Tim was saying about the mismanagement of stuff, is like, why are they doing 3 people for 1 day apiece when they could do 1 person for 3 days and not fly 3 different people out?
Yeah, that's true.
That
That was a big problem.
Yeah.
that seems, that alone, let's just have more consistent 3-dayers, that we cut back on our flying time, and flights in general would make up so much more money. But I don't know. I might just be wrong that paying for 3 round trip flights for somebody to be there 1 day apiece is that might
Well,
be saving money. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they have a set budget for how much they give each judges. If you're not a head judge, they're not covering your flight. You get a stipend, a specific amount of stipend, and your hotel paid for. So and a lot of times that stipend doesn't actually cover your flight. So you do have to dip into your own fund. So, like, for example, if I would have gone to Vancouver when they asked me to go, it would have cost me about $100 over the stipend, right? That they would have given me. So there's that's one thing. So yeah, if they could save money in that round, so it's really going to be, like I said, this week this one is going to be interesting. So like I'm trying to staff Pittsburgh, but like for me, it's only a drive. So like for me, if I got the opportunity to staff, the stipend would be negligible for me. And so it's really interesting how they do it. But at the end of the day, Pittsburgh's going to be the crux. We're going to see how the judging is there and the staff. We're going to hear back from the judges. We're going to hear as players how the staffing was. We're going to see it, and then Milwaukee will also be a test too, because again, Pittsburgh's going to help work out the kinks. And again, this is also the first regional of the season, so we got to give them a little. I always say, let's give them a little bit of grace and see how it goes, and then go from there. But who knows?
No, those are good
Yeah,
points.
even
That's
looking at,
definitely a topic for later.
yeah.
Definitely a topic for later. Go ahead, Troy.
Mhm. And I was going to say, even looking at like Baltimore last year, Baltimore was the first one the Gaming Chin did as a organization, organizer. And if you remember, like heading into the event, it was like 10 o'clock opening, and they're like 11:30. Like it just kept pushing back. And again, everybody seemed pretty cool about it. Everybody seemed understanding, like, hey, this is the first major that Gaming Chin's done. And there were some hiccups throughout the weekend, and it definitely, like you said earlier, it smoothed out a lot. But I think you're going to see that transition from, hey, they did it last year, they learned a lot of lessons, they're moving into this year. So that transition from Pittsburgh to Milwaukee will be a lot smaller than that transition from Baltimore to Louisville was last year.
Agreed.
I mean,
All right. So
I'm just gonna on my end of it. I'm gonna hope on that everything just smooths out. Like, if $10 will fix a lot of things, so be it. Let's just hope that means that we have just bigger events in general. I mean, that does make it harder for the average player to achieve day 2s. That does make it harder for the average player to get deeper runs if they even do make it to a day 2, because let's say 3,500 players, 2,500 of them are masters. That's a 9-round event. You've got to go 6-2-1. If you go 2-2 after you went 6-2-1, you still might only get a top 128 from that. Like, it will be harder to go deeper in bigger events.
I feel like the changes they've made to the top cut and ASM top cut for this season will fix that, though.
What changes were made for this one?
I believe they've changed the amount of rounds.
Okay. We looked at something about that earlier, but we weren't quite sure how that one worked. That it was like plus 1 round with X amount of players, but like we can't go further than 9 rounds.
That'll fix a lot of the issues.
Will that be like plus 1 more round in day 2? Because that's the thing that we didn't remember how it worked, is if it was plus 1 more round for day 1 or plus 1 more round in day 2.
It's not. It'll be 9 rounds day 1 and then plus 1 round day 2.
So we could have a 5-round day 2,
right?
Plus top.
But then they less that then a top ASIM they lowered from X, like they lowered it. I think it's only top 16 now.
It's maximum top
Which,
16.
yes.
That's 100%.
Because we talked about that one as well. That like, what happens when player 17 has the exact same as player 16?
It's cut. I mean, and it's really unlikely if they do 5-round ASIM or 5 rounds and then go to ASIM, we'll have a 17th player. It's even more unlikely that we'll have 16. So that's where
Right.
that 5th round will help fix a lot of the issues. The big thing that it'll fix though is with that 5th round, X2 can theoretically make top cut now.
If they go 5-0 in day 2.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that like so that actually the regional price actually spun a lot more topics for me to spin my head on. So appreciate that, guys. Now I know we got more stuff to talk about because I do want to get deeper into. That was a very good point about the judges and $10. That could be something that's got my wheel spinning. That could be helping because in Baltimore there is not a lot of staff. It's new. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it was a garbage fire, and anybody will tell you there was a lot of fires to put out. But a lot of us banded together and got things straight over the year to where now players are back to where this is it. This is cool. But yeah, let's definitely pick that back up on another episode because there are some new cards out there. I know we want to talk about, even if it's just briefly. We got some megas coming out, guys. Mega Evolution is coming out. What's the date? You guys probably know better than me. My head's so deep into Gen Con
September,
right now.
the weekend of Pittsburgh. They're
Weekend
not
of
legal for
Pittsburgh. So,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
not
they're
legal for Pittsburgh,
they
legal after.
we can have them legal for. I think it's Las Vegas will be the first event in America that they're legal for, right?
Yep.
So that being said, do you think prizing, being that they're going to be released, will prizing be the mega set or will it still be Destiny Rivals?
For
Historically,
the actual, no, it
If
won't
it's
be.
if it's releasing weekend of Pittsburgh, no, we won't get it for Pittsburgh.
I
I'm
disagree.
just hoping.
Yeah?
I disagree, and here's why. Last time this happened, last season, it was a couple seasons ago. This happened. I remember this. I was talking to my friend Steven, who's a judge, and he told me, no, we're not going to get. We won't get this. It's too early. Like it's coming out that weekend, and he told me that, and I said, no, I think you're going to get it. And that weekend, guess what those judges got? They got whatever set it was. I can't remember what set it was. So it's possible. But the likelihood is no, it just depends. Pokemon's weird.
Yeah.
Because it does come out. It either comes out the weekend before it or the weekend. If it comes out the weekend of, I
Recording
don't
the
think that they'll have
podcast.
it. If it comes out the weekend before, there's
It
a
comes out
chance
the
that
weekend
that
before.
then there is a chance. I will give it a chance that that we could get as pricing.
My friend Amy, she just wanted to say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Keep it real, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm a movie star now.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. Oh, God. No, I mean with the
But,
megas,
yeah,
I know what you're
that
talking
would be
about,
cool.
Tim. There was a tournament. It was this year too. We didn't think we were getting it. I don't think it was week of. I think it was week after, and like we were all assuming we were not going to get it. It was Surging Sparks because I kind of like blew up because we went to the vendors. We asked them, "What are you going to get for this? This is what we think we're getting." Next thing you know, I just went through the event, didn't even ask what the 1 and 2 dayers got. I went to go check out and I'm like, wait, what? Like, what is this? And it was Surging Sparks. It was like a week after. I don't think it was the week of. I could be wrong.
It was the
though.
week after.
Yeah. We still thought it was too early. But there are some cool cards coming out of the set. These guys can't see it because of the way we did the podcast, which I'm glad that we had all 4 different locations. Like we were in 4 different states right now. It's kind of cool. But I will throw these up on the screen. But the first one I got for us to talk about, and one of my favorite arts coming out, is the Mega Lucaria EX. If you haven't seen it, like I said, I'm going to throw it up on the screen. The special art was revealed just a couple days ago, and it's got so much going on in the background. The graphic design brain part of me is like, oh my God, I love it. So I'll probably pick it up just to have it. I mean, it's got Mega Abomasnow, Mega Manectric. I got a really bad version. There's not a very good version out. It's super tiny. When you blow it up, it gets pixelated. But these guys are the professionals here on the decks of it. How do we think that pans out affecting the meta? We'll
Shawn,
start.
before they talk about that, I'm just going to
Yeah,
say I don't care about the SAR for that Mega Lucario. That gold rare they showed off, that looks sick.
you aren't wrong. I didn't really have that prepared because that came out while we were driving up here. But yeah, that gold rare does look sick. I'll throw that on here too and post edit, so everybody can see. Yeah, that gold rare is nice. Like, I hope they do a gold tango like that because that's another subject. We're not gonna go there.
We're getting they showed off Mega Gardevoir EX Gold and Mega Lucario.
Yes.
Those are the poster
Not,
childs of the EDBs though. So I don't know if they'll do it for all of them.
but
But like
deck
what Shawn was
choices.
saying, we for Mega Lucario, I personally think there's a really, really bad Lucario right now out of the EX battle decks. It's a 2 energy plus smack for like 60 or something, but it's a 2
Yep.
fighting, 1 colorless, hits for like 160 and 50 to the bench. Regular Lucario EX. The problem with it at this point is we had no way to power it up. But in the next format, we have Mega Lucario that punches for 130 and accelerates 3 energies. We also get the fighting super potion, like energy drink, whatever it is, that increases damage. It's fighting Electropower for anybody who played during Electropower time. Which then means that you could punch for 180 or 210 with it and do 50 to a bench with this regular Lucario EX. The only problem is Gardevoir still in format. That guy
It's
knows all
gonna
about
be.
it.
We'll talk
Yeah.
about. We'll get there. So save the
Um,
Guardy talk. I have a Guardy slide, so we will get there. But
Tim, what do you think about Mega Lucario and like any cards that you think could go with it?
I don't know fighting decks very well, mostly because I have like been zeroed in on Gardevoir personally and how to use Mega Gardevoir EX. I haven't really looked at the Mega Lucario, other than it looks pretty and I want it as a card.
So to read it off real
Fair
quick,
enough.
it's got Aura Jab for 1, hits for 130. Attach up to 3 basic fighting energies from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon. Sorry, it's hard to read in any way you like. So it's not just to 1, it's to any. And then Mega Brave for 2 fighting, 270, which is pretty relevant. I mean, you got the Premium Power Pro, which is the other card I was going to throw in there that adds 30 more to your
Yeah, the
fighting
weird energy
Pokemon.
drink.
Yeah, weird energy drink. But I'm not going to lie, it's really hard to read what this says. It's so blown up right now. If anybody, I'll pull it up on my phone real quick.
Yeah, short
Just-
version is it's 1 for 130, accelerate 3 fighting any way you like to a bench, and the other one is 2 fighting for 270. And I think you either discard the energies or you can't use the attack the next turn.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but like 270 is a solid number.
Yeah, that's what it
especially
is.
with a couple of drinks. You could be hitting 330 with it. But yeah, its downside is it has a psychic weakness where we have one of the most prevalent decks in format is psychic.
The other
And
thing
I'm
too
sorry.
is it's not hitting anything in format for weakness.
It's
Yeah,
not.
no, not at
Am
this
I right
moment.
on?
You can hit lightning Pokemon, so like it'll be good into Mega Manectric when that becomes better. It hits your support Pokemon like Bezendipity, I guess, but nothing impactful. But that's also good that like there, other than one specific deck, and once the Queen rotates, there's not, as of right now, nothing crazy for Psychics coming back out, which means that it'll have a good weakness to have. But what's our next Mega, sir?
Next Mega is Mega Venusaur EX. So this one's been the spec rares are out. The Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, those are really cool. But the solar transfer, so I'm happy to see grass getting some love. We're reminiscent of a lot of grass Pokemon that you can move the energy from. The big thing here is Tiger will get into it, and I'm sure Tim will too. The Jungle Dump does 240, heal 30. That's you're probably never going to do that because you're going to have Relicanth out. It's going to be a control style deck. Not my type, so I'm going to stop right there and pass the mic to one of our resident players up top to answer the rest of how that deck would be built.
I mean, I think the big thing we're going to see is we're going to see more of a stall type of deck where it's kind of going to be built like Gudra was, where it's going to hit, heal, and tank damage, right? Because think about it, it's grass type, fire weakness. So what's hitting it for weakness right now in format other than Entei? Entei's gone. We don't have that. Gouging Fire's not really in format. We got
EU doesn't
Cerulege.
hit hard enough.
No, it
We got
doesn't. That's what I was going
Cerulege,
to say. Cerulege, yeah.
right?
Cerulege, Ethan's, yeah.
Ethan's Typhlosion is going to be a problem because Ethan's Typhlosion
Yes.
is going to be relevant. So other than that, like you can't just play again. You can't just play like hope for like one deck to like, okay, I lose to one deck. Okay, cool. I can play against that. Right. So the reality that one deck is probably going to be an issue depends on how good Ethan's Typhlosion is going to be then, right? But it's relevant into like think Goldango, right? If we're hitting into Goldango can't consistently hit 360. It's really hard for it to get over that 340, 350 threshold.
I
It's
would
not doing it
say
twice in a row.
different. Nah, I would still say different. I don't know if Tiger can say
I'm gonna agree with Tim on that one. Doing 8
Yeah.
energies 3 times is
3
the fact
times.
that
Yes,
it's worth 3 prizes.
Two times, Tiger.
Yeah,
Mega.
it is worth. But the thing now, if we throw a cape on there, or we
Yeah.
Now we're
throw
talking. Now we're talking
some,
stuff.
this is but that's going with what Tim was saying. That if we're going with a Gudra style with an aggressive version that swings and tanks, you're not getting over a 480 HP Venusaur and then doing a 381 the next turn. It's just not happening.
I'll
That is
concede to the whole build
extremely big.
itself. Yeah, I'll concede to the
And
whole
the other
all
thing
of it together.
too, if you're running Venusaur, you're running Toad Scroll.
Yes, you
Yeah.
already grass in
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, once the
Yeah.
Toads hits the freaking
Yeah, so-
field, I mean, you're just cooked.
Now the other version that people are talking about with the Venusaur is the Relicanth version, and playing it basically like a Saw Block deck. You have a 300 HP, 380 HP Retreat Lock deck that you just can't deal with because you can combine it with, hey, what's that new card we were talking about, Shawn? Wally's what?
Raleigh's Compassion. So heal. I'll go to it real quick. We're gonna get there, just so I have the wording correct. Heal all damage from one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon EX. If you healed any damage this way, put all energy attached to that Pokemon in your hand. Well, Tiger, what's that mean?
That means that the Bulbasaur attack, when you combine it with the Relicanth, is a one grass energy attack that punches for like 20, and your opponent can't retreat. So now Venusaur at 380 with a Hero's Cape or whatever on it has 480 HP and retreat locking you, and can use Wally's Conviction or whatever it is we just said to remove the
Compassion.
1 energy after you punched it. Compassion for the 1 energy, which then makes you heal all of it after you've punched it for 200, 300, and they do it all over again. So all of your efforts were wasted. It feels like Block Lax all over again with 4 times the HP.
Ain't that right?
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else, Troy? I don't mean to leave you out. I just know these two are more resonant on the deck building
This
part.
is actually again. I am not a deck builder. I'm a net decker. Like, give me Limitless. Let's go. I might find some little pieces here and there. So I will, respectfully let you boys do your cooking here, and I will stay far out of the kitchen.
All right. So then the next one up, I'm actually kind of happy about because Electric is another one of my favorite type of decks. Not necessarily favorite types, but favorite type to play because it's usually fast. Mega Manectric. At first look, I kind of said this sucked. Tiger was actually changed my mind on that. Definitely looking at it as an addition to Miraidon when it hits, but eventually being its own deck after Miraidon leaves. To go over what the card has before these guys go over what they think, you got Flash Ray for 120. Discard. It's translated wrong. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. Pretty strong. I overlook that with the decks that are out there. And then Riot Blaster, so 200 plus. The plus comes from It's 3 energy costs, all lightning. You may discard all energy from this Pokemon. If you do an additional 130 damage. So we started with Tim last time. We'll start with Tiger this time. Go ahead and tell the crowd out there what I was seeing different and overlooking and how relevant it actually is in the meta, possibly, depending on how things shake up.
Okay, so Shawn overlooked the immune to damage from basics. So early on in control decks, they used Furrygraph EX. That was just immune to straight basic EXs, which, when set up, was just soloing Raging Bolt, was soloing Miraidon. Now, that's the same concept that we could have here, but it's more like Crown Opal, like, what is it? Flareon and Terapagos on its own. That man over there knows all about Terapagos. That's how we met. But Terapagos' Crown Opal attack, it says it's immune to all basic damage other than colorless basics. So that meant that Miraidon or what is it, Raging Bolt had to get a Ursaluna powered up to deal with it, or go Prime Catcher Boss in the same turn, and that's still a lot to do, especially with if you could. All right, so you turn 1, you got your turtle set up with a Crispin and a Crystal. Turn 2, you went and got a Noctowl to get a Turo to Turo up your last piece. They're not getting through that. There's nothing for them to Prime Catcher Boss at that point. That's best case scenario, but still wasting resources is a win con. And if it's punching for 120, hope you don't have Prime Catcher Boss or Bundle Boss on this next turn, on top of your ability to swing for, I think it's 280 or 310 or whatever it is Metric has.
330.
330. So 330 on a stage
330.
1. So that means that Raging Bolt specifically would need to have 5 energies on like turn 2, and Prime Catcher Boss or Bundle Boss, Bundle Catcher, some combination of that with 5 energies. I'm not seeing that happen. Tim, do you think that the average Raging Bolt player can get 5 energies, Bundle Boss on turn 2?
Are they running? I mean, Noctowl build maybe, but that's still really hard because you have to get. Then you're needing the Sada for 2. That's 2 energy. Attach energy. There's 3, and then 2 Ogre attaches. But that now
exists,
you can't
but
boss.
like
Now you have to focus on Prime Catcher Bundle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that requires you to have the Noctowls as well. So but here's the thing: if they do it once, are they going to be able to do it a second time? No, because now they're down Bundle and Prime Catcher.
Mm-hmm. And they're not going to be able to repower up and get those 5 energies back to do a even if they night stretcher the bundle back to do a bundle boss play, because they have to use the Sada. And
right.
What
and
was that number that we said that the Manectric does? 120? Oh, guess who 2 120s will KO? Every basic. So they can chase energies if they really wanted to.
Agree. Easily the other token on that. Like even right now, Magneton is finding its way into Miraidon. I know at least everybody's running a 1-1. I know some people mess with the 2-2. I don't think that's totally necessary, but looking at the ability in Riot Blaster, that's a reload easy. If it's not to the Manectric, it's to the Zero Aura that we have talked about being the unsung hero, or anything else that you need to power up after you did do a 330 on a Charizard or Dragapult or something.
One question for Tim. How does immune to basics affect the Gardevoir matchup?
Ooh, yeah, that is the
because if they have to swing with the Gardevoir, then they get to swing for the 330 attack.
It just depends on how they're running the Gardevoir build. Gardevoir is fine playing around that. It typically can play. It's running enough gusts to get around it. And I mean, even if it doesn't, it's going to swing with Mega Gardevoir to hit to take the knockout.
Because there is Mega Gardevoir coming out when this will be out, so that is a good answer to it. So they might have to bring out the big guns, their final sweeper, to deal with something that's stopping Drifloon and things like that early.
Right, because here's the reality. I believe Mega Gardevoir has 340 HP.
Something like that, yeah.
360.
And 360. So the only way that there's no way for Manectric to one-shot it right away.
Yeah, you would have to use damage modifiers, which is a whole extra thing that we're not going into because we don't know specific builds for that type of stuff right now.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well, and
so
that's
that means Guardy can deal with Manectric because it has its own heavy hitter.
Yeah, and you got to think if we go the Mega Gardevoir route, they're not going to be running Drifloons as much anyways or Charms. They're going to focus on utilizing Mega Gardevoir EX as an attacker versus the Drifloon. So it'll be interesting.
well, and that's actually a perfect segue into the Guardy. That's next up. I know Mega Guardy EX comes out, but that's actually not the most pivotal part in our opinion. And feel free to disagree for sure. But Guardy EX also gets two important cards that are trainers. It gets Mysterious Garden and it gets Suspicious Clock. So in order, Mysterious Garden is Stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard an energy card from their hand in order to draw until they have as many cards as they have psychic Pokemon in play. And then before we let these guys run wild on it, we got Devolve, Suspicious Clock, Devolve one of your Evolved Psychic by returning any number of evolution cards into your hand. So you can go all the way back. And then the Mega Guardy, Symphonia, I hope I said that right, is probably the biggest thing everybody's looking at. It's an alternate attacker. Again, I'm looking big scheme. It's up to these guys to break it down small scheme, and we're going to let Guardybot Tim up there start with his ideas on all these new Guardy tools. So it's you got to Mike.
I think the only thing that I'm thinking of is Heroes Cape Mega Guardy can't be one-shotted by Grimmsnarl. So I mean, reality, Grimmsnarl is going to be a thing. So it's not like Guardy doesn't have a deck that's going to hurt it. Obviously the top players, Henry Chow, and people like him, Henry Brand, anybody who's really Brent Tonneson, those people who've really piloted the deck really well, they're going to be able to get around Grimmsnarl pretty easily. They're going to be able to tech it. But again, the players who aren't as familiar, and they're going to get railroaded by Grimmsnarl. The other reality of the matter is it's finding room for Mega Gardevoir EX because it just changes the deck completely. Think about when we had Zoroark Guardy, how much room, like how tight the list gets, and even then even going into Worlds right now, what lists people are considering playing? We're looking at people possibly playing Fluttermane, Klefki going into these. The Gardevoir list is very very hard to build around because you need about 11 energy. You're looking at that about 15 to 20 Pokemon. And so it's really hard to add that Mega Gardevoir EX without removing other alternative attackers and then relying on the Mega Gardevoir as an attacker. But then that opens you up to being one-shotted by Grimmsnarl, putting you behind 3 prizes. And how do you come back from that? It puts you in a tricky scenario. Now in other decks, 360 is going to be fine because you're not really it going into because you can play into it once you get enough energy in your discard. Mega Guardy one shots Goldango and other decks in the format, so it's not really a big deal. But you're still going to have like Ethan's Typhlosion. Ethan's Typhlosion is not a win for all for Gardevoir going into this format. It's got it's got Brave Bengal now. It's destroying It's going to destroy Gardevoir decks. So Gardevoir, yes, is getting positioned into a really good position. Plus, this stadium does add some draw engine to it, so you'll probably see some decks play it. But a lot of decks are really relying on Artisan right now. They really need Artisan. They've cut the Buddy Poffins pretty much out of the deck. The Smart TCG, the one that made top 8 at that 1,000 plus thing, it wasn't running a single Buddy Poffin, which is insane. So Gardevoir relies on using Arven to get an Artisan to get extra cards out. So it's going to change how, okay, are we going more heavy Buddy Poffin now? But then if we go heavy Buddy Poffin, we cut out options to get Fez, to get Mew, to get other draw engines for the deck that are really necessary. It's really going to change how it builds that deck. So is it going to rely heavy on this stadium to discard psychics to now draw extra cards versus Mew, Fez, draw, and attack?
So you're saying that the stadium might not be as impactful as we think because the decks will have to be redone completely to fit it in correctly.
Yeah, so if we add that stadium in, we're probably cutting Fez. But then if you're cutting Fez, you're losing a crucial late game draw engine.
Right. And what do you think about the suspicious clock? People have come up with the idea that it's a built-in I can activate counter catcher when I want, or it's a I can take my 2-prizer off the board card. Which do you think it'll get used for more?
Take guarding off the board. There's
I
a
mean,
lot
but you
of
could do
times
both
when
at
you
the
wanna
same
take guarding
too.
off the board.
Because the other option and alternative is that as long as you have another Ralt or Curly on the board, you can do the self KO, get it off the board, and activate counter catcher all at the same time. Which
you can, which is good because you can focus on I think it'll be interesting, like a build like that'll be interesting with a Jalescent lock. So Jalescent, you could lock them items and just kind of stall out, devolve, re-evolve, and KO what you want, and keep them item locked, which is really good.
Yeah.
yeah, because if you self KO, you can evolve another piece because the
Another
card
one,
specifically
just not
says that
that
you
one.
cannot. Yeah, you cannot re-evolve the one that you devolved. So you
Right.
can KO something else, activate a counter catcher, do a play, and then re-evolve. Which this suspicious clock, I wonder if there's another psychic deck coming around the corner that could abuse this more because we'll have maybe we could get a shock lock again,
Mega
where
Banette,
that could be a thing as well.
Mega
There are
Lottie. Oh
plenty
no,
of
Mega Latias isn't psychic. Never mind.
it's dragon.
Dragon.
But that's the thing. We have this could be an interesting card for future ability based uses, like coming into play uses. Like if we had a psychic double, being able to use an Arven to devolve the double and then reusing the double on a different one as another boss. Something like that could be how Suspicious Clock could get another alternate use in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, you heard it right there from definitely Guardy professional, I'd say, and Timothy there, and Guardy. I know I'm not a Guardy fan either. Neither was Tiger, but we can see where it's getting a plus. So the next one is actually more on my topic, the return of Forest of Giant Plants. Let's go, craft. So. Lush Forest is coming out. This may not affect standard so much, but our GLC fans out there, this is huge. Each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into another grass Pokemon during the turn they play those Pokemon. The catch is it can evolve a Pokemon during. That means on the first turn, you can evolve it. But on turn 2, if all the pieces line up, I Zarude, backfall, I got everything in my hand and he didn't get disrupted, I can quite literally get Rillaboom and Venusaur out at the same time easily and literally have double energy and pull my energy out. That's 4 energy in a turn, guys. It's crazy. So I know that's very tunnel vision on that. I hit on one of our local players said it's going to get grass banned. It's going to get banned immediately. I highly disagree, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. I think it's going to make it strong. I feel there'd have to be a deck that completely abuses this to the point that it's unbeatable by anything for them to actually ban it. Along with that,
Pokemon's
before
never banned a card.
well,
You don't
GLC has ban cards. GLC does have ban cards because there are
Pokemon
some
has banned
broken lists.
cards when they hit expanded, and there was one time that they banned a card while it was still in standard. I think it was a Sableye.
It was different. That was
they
an
did ban
emergency.
Sableye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an emergency ban. Yeah.
To go with it, you got Meganium that's coming back out again, another GLC, but also possible seen in standard, and it has the jungle totem called Wild Growth. Each grass energy attached to it counts as 2. Many are familiar with jungle totem Venusaur if you're in the GLC, or even played at that time. So now I'm gonna turn the mic over to let's go with Troy with this one because Troy's been a little bit quiet, like a kid spinning in his chair over there.
He's
No, I'm
like,
just
I gotta
joking.
talk about cards.
So I know you're
No,
not
I mean,
a GLC
ultimately-
fan. I know you're not a GLC
Yeah,
fan as much. You're around it because I've talked about it. What's your impact on this? And then we'll pass it up to you.
Honestly, so again, I know grass type has been a lot, but most of the grass type we're seeing right now, of course, like teal mask, and of course, you're also going to get. My initial thought is, from having played Grimmsnarl for quite a while, my whole thing was like, oh crap, I got to get rid of that baby toad scroll before it comes out. Okay, well now it's coming out immediately.
Yes.
So it's definitely a big fear and stuff like that. And I mean, you're going to have a lot of downside there. And I know I've already got a couple of my locals who have been trying to get Meowscarada to be good for 2 years, and they're sitting here going, But I still don't know that that's going to do it for Meowscarada. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, ultimately, like anything, it looks scary. It looks really good in certain aspects. I think it has a lot more of a use, like you're saying, in GLC, where you have a lot more of that spread that, as far as your different cards you can use over courses of time, that you can break it in. I've gotten to the point now where I see so many people like see that scary card, and of course the internet goes bananas about it because it's going to break the game and all that. That I'm just like, we'll see when it comes out. But I mean, ultimately, yes, I do see GLC side being a lot more of a scary factor. But for us in standard, sure.
Question for the card.
Yeah.
So can you go Bulbasaur, Venusaur, or Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, no candy?
Yes. It's Grand Tree, just not on your first turn.
That okay,
They have to be in your hand. So
but I wasn't 100% sure.
You have to have them. You
So,
have to have them. So sorry, you have to have the way
So
to
if you have
get.
Bulbasaur down the turn before, the next turn you play the forest and play Jacques to get Ivysaur, Venusaur, you can go straight 1, 2, 3. Like the Caterpies and stuff that have like the
Adaptive evolution.
busted evolution. Yeah, basically it gives any grass Pokemon adaptive evolution.
Yeah, like if you have anything that's like if you have anything like metal type, we have the Genesect, of course. Like if they have anything remotely like that, it's broken. Like,
yes. What else you got on that, guys?
It doesn't, but the Pokemon has to be down the turn before.
Yes, you can't do it. Yes, you can't evolve it. You still have to follow evolution rules, but the moment it's allowed to evolve, you can go straight to the final stage.
But
that is the balancing of the card.
Well, actually, the way it reads, guys, hold on. The way it reads, it says during their first turn. So that tells me turn 1, T1, they can.
Yeah, it's going to go from basic to stage 1 in the turn that it comes down. However,
it's not the first turn.
Yeah,
that's how it reads. I mean, it says the parentheses is players can evolve a Pokemon during their first turn, and then backtrack, leave Pokemon during the turn they play those Pokemon. Reading those words, that means
so you just can't do it on turn 1.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, like, turn 1 of the game, you can't do it, but you can just go boom, boom, boom anytime.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the Caterpie. It's literally, it gives all grass Pokemon adaptability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So, Troy, with your Meowscarada thing, I've actually talked to some people and seen people coming up with decent looking lists. I don't know how strong it'll be, but it does do it. You go to a Crispin build, you use Monkey Dories and Haluchas, and you build up your cat with this stadium, and it's a playable deck, but I would not call it a meta deck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, the Meganium that Shawn was talking about earlier will be one of the ways to make the aggressive version of Venusaur work that Tim was talking about, because 4 grass energies is a lot, but if you can get a double stage 2 out of a Meganium and 2 Venusaurs and just keep bouncing the energies back and forth, it's a lot easier to get 2 grass energies out than it is to get 4.
Yes.
In an aggressive version, I do think Meganium, Forest, Venusaur will be how that goes together. If you want to play an attacking version.
What about Ogerpon?
The double grass energy, that's the next thing I was going to go with. The Ogerpon battle deck is basically what this is. Meganium plus Ogerpon or Hydrapple could see exponential amount of play because the pure energy acceleration that Ogerpon can do has now been doubled for Hydrapple. So I don't know if it'd be like a 101 Meganium to just straight up stack everything. But even if you just played straight Ogerpons and like Brave Charms, every 2 energies is 4. So effectively, just attach Teal Dance is all you need to attack with Ogerpon, and it will hit for 150 because it's 4 energies on there right now. It will increase by 60 for every single energy you put onto the Ogerpon. If you get 4 energies on there, we have 8 energies. 8 times, so that's effectively 9. 9 times 3 is 270 for having 4 energies on that.
And that's not even including the energies on your opponent's Pokemon.
Correct.
Oh,
So we
shoot.
can get 4
Oh my
energies
God,
on
I
here.
forgot them.
4 energies on a Teal Mask Ogerpon, make it hit for 270 on its own because of the Meganium. So Battle Pawn will be a thing. That also still means
Agreed.
that when you flip over, if you want to use the Ogre's Mask, and now this is where it gets interesting. Teal Mask Ogerpon, how many energies do we have to throw back if we have a Meganium out? Is it 2 because they count as 2?
What are you talking about?
So that we would
Retreating
technically put
or
4 back. No. The Wellspring Ogerpon's attack where you have to shuffle them back. How many do you shuffle back based on the effect of if it has a Meganium with it?
well, it's only
Because Meganium would do.
Oh yeah, it's not grass Pokemon. So yeah, it's just a grass energy. It count as 2. If Meganium's down, it count as 2. As once it's attached, energy is what it is. So even if it's luminous, oh no, it has to be grass, basic grass. It does state that. But if it's attached to Pokemon and it's grass, it's gonna count as 2 for them. So you, in the
So
same sense,
effectively, if we have a luminous double grass on there, we can just shuffle back the double grass because that's effectively 4 energies because the Meganium's out, correct?
that's actually that's a good one. I might actually have to look at that. Let's bring in some questions in
Because
my brain.
That
once
would
they
let
get
the Ogerpon
detached, yeah.
deck actually just do crazy things.
I'll have an answer next week for sure on that one. Remind me, Tiger. That one's one I'm gonna ask people about.
Because
That's actually a
that
good
means
one.
theoretically, what is it? If you have a Meganium out, Cornerstone Ogerpon is you can do attach a Luminous, Teal Dance, Ogre Mask the Cornerstone out. Cornerstone's ready to attack in 1 turn with 2 energies.
That's actually a big brain right there. Didn't think about that.
So Meganium could see a lot of play in niche decks. Colorless decks can abuse the grass acceleration that way too.
That's true. That's
If
true.
you play if you have Meganium plus Crispin gets you a whatever color and a grass energy, and you have a 3 energy colorless attack. Let's use, I don't know, somebody. Is there anybody out there that uses colorless in their attacks for anything right now? All right,
Like
so
just
Psychic. Let's use
colors?
theoretically, let's use Jellicent. Jellicent's bonus effect is if you have 2 extra energies on there. If you have Meganium plus Crispin gets you a Psychic plus a Grass. The Grass covers 2. You don't quite have enough for it yet, but 1 attachment the turn before meant that a Crispin activated Jellicent's extra effect. There are so many random combination of cards that we could do to get bonuses to cover extra energy slots because of this Meganium. It will see play, just where does it see play?
I think
Very
it sees
good.
it sees more play than Tiger, and I think it also sees more play than like the Charizard who did the exact same effect. Because we got a Charizard in Go set that had the exact same effect. But the reason that this one sees more play is because of Ogerpon EX. Ogerpon
Correct.
EX draw cards. If we had the same thing, I almost can guarantee, and also now the stadium that allows it to evolve. If Charizard had something similar, it would have seen more play. It did see some niche play, and not as much though.
Yeah.
But I think one combination that I like with it is Ogerpon Mass Change. Now I can attack with any of my Ogerpons.
He's getting spicy.
Yeah, that is going to be big.
Mass change.
The ogre deck gets a big buff because of Meganium.
I remember
Now
I
it's
put
like a
his
squad
mass
Ogerpon
change in Brent's Cornerstone when we were really rocking the Cornerstone. I remember when he used mass change.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little spicy then too. It ended up getting cut, but it was cool there for a week or so.
Yeah, in the Raging Bolt deck. But yeah, no, Tim's exactly right. The Ogre Pawn deck is the one that's going to get the biggest buff from Meganium.
Raging Bolt is okay. This is gonna sound silly, but Raging Bolt could use it because now one energy does 140.
It's true.
I think that's the same
heck,
premise
even
as what we were.
So I mean, if you did like a 101 line, like when they tried to do the Wonder Kiss or Togepi or the Dusknoir in there, and you just wanted to play a 101 in there to help energy acceleration, because that would be a way for Raging Bolt to chunk damage. If you can get every energy retrieval for 2 grass energies becomes 4 for your Raging Bolt. So a Sada attach, you just plus double Teal Dance, you are now at, and that's not even including if you Sada a grass energy onto the board as well.
Well,
There are so many pieces that you could do with this.
Well, folks, you guys heard it here. They're way too early predictions of what Meganium could do for proven grass Pokemon. I don't know what else to title that one. That's pretty solid.
No, for those of you who try to throw Meganium in a Raging Bolt, we can blame Tim up there.
I hope it happens.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'll do it.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll play
yeah.
it.
So
I'll do it.
moving on, we got a couple more cards because honestly, we got some great conversation, but we are getting to an
very
over. So I mean, we're gonna cut it a little earlier from what we had written down, but three more things we'll talk about. 2 more actually, but 3 cards here. We got 3 new trainers. Lieutenant Sarge's Bargain. Ask your opponent if both players may draw a prize card. If both players draw a prize card, or if yes, both players do. If no, that player draws 4. Start with that one.
I'm drawing
How's
4
that
cards.
sound?
Thanks.
Yeah, pretty much. Thank you. 4 cards.
The only time that this makes a difference to where you would want to give your opponent a prize card, one is if you are a Charizard player and your opponent played it, because you want the damage ramp automatically. You don't really care about it because if you give a prize card, you get a prize card. They take another one because they KO'd a single prizer. Your Charizard's now swinging for 240. Your Zekrom is swinging for 230. Like these little numbers like that, certain people will use it, but in general, this is the closest we've ever had to just a static draw 4, because most people will say no, I don't want you to have a prize card.
Honestly, the only time I'm saying no is if it's you're playing that turn 2 as your supporter, and you have not. If you're playing that turn 2 as a supporter, I'll give you the free card. I don't care. Why would I give you 4 extra cards turn 2?
That tells
That's
me,
about
like
the only
Tim said,
time,
that tells me you don't have nothing. Like, have your prize card. I hope that's the one card you need.
That's like we were saying for in Goldango. Like my first time playing Goldango and doing well at an event with it, we played 4 workers, which was discard a stadium, draw 3 cards. So, effectively, like it becomes a draw engine for Goldango, because if you give Goldango a prize card, they're happy. If you say no, they draw 4 cards. They're still happy. That is a win. That is the only deck that gets a win-win.
I've been trying to say, get it hashtag the coin bonus for 4. I mean, because that's what it is now. I mean, Goldangos after a couple turns, maybe even on the first turn they evolve, they're drawing 2, ballooning, switching, drawing 2. I mean, there's even the Turo play to draw 6 off of that, if possible. I've done
and
it
then
before.
you play the bargain on top of it. That becomes a 10-card turn, or you gave me a prize card. Either way, I'm happy.
You're not complaining. Next up is Wally's Compassion, which we kind of touched on it with the Venusaur. Heal all damage from one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon, so not just grass, just any Mega. If healed any damage this way, put all energy attached to that Pokemon in your hand. Many different uses for this. So Tim on this one, what do you think? Well, I know you said you rarely read them. We read them before we really started, but what are you thinking on that one?
I think Willie's Compassion is going to see play. I mean, it's going to be you're going to see it a lot in your control and stall type decks where if you can heal damage, it's going to be good. I don't think Gardevoir is going to play it just because we don't want to put our energies back into our hands.
Jumping in for a contradiction on that one, it might see play in Gardevoir next Guardy. When we lose Guardy EX, and
Yes.
we're relying straight on Mega Guardy because it's just a 1 energy attacker.
Yeah. That's true.
But until then, Tim is 100% right. If 1 Mega Guardy is not worth having a Wally's in there just to put 1 energy back, heal it, and put it back down. We have Turo at the moment. It'll be fine. But other than that, I don't know what. I mean, I guess if you want to keep your Manectrics up, because Mega Manectric has free retreat, you can pivot between them, heal it, put it back to attach return, Dynamotor to it or whatever, and that's still 2 energies to make it swing again. So like that's fine.
Solid.
But there are, for the most part, control. Probably Mega Venusaur retreat lock aspect will be the one that uses it the most.
All right. Troy, you got anything on that one? Not to again leave you out. I know it's just not necessarily new cards right now, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is just not my area of expertise on things. So go ahead, guys.
All right. So the last one, and this is probably one I think sees the most play, and because it's so versatile to any deck, is Lily's Determination. We've seen this before in other cards. It's kind of like a mix between the one Lily we had, and I can't remember the other card. Someone just told me. I don't have a brain fart. Cynthia, that's what it was.
Cynthia.
Shuffle your hand into your deck. Then draw 6 cards. If you have 6 prizes remaining, so start of the game, nobody's taking knockouts, whatever it is, draw 8 instead. So in my mind, that's play your hand out, quite literally, everything that you can, or you just don't have anything. I don't know how many Goldango's hands I've started not had anything and just wish I had something like this. And shuffle them all back in. Draw 8, and hopefully you get a better start. It's, in my eyes, it's a new hand.
I think Dragapult will love this card the most because like they're playing research right now, but their goal is to take 4 to 6 prize cards in the last couple turns of the game. So they're going to keep 6 prizes for most of it. So if they can shuffle draw set 8 for 8, 6, 7 hands, then yeah, they're going to definitely do that. Plus Dracloak for 3 or 4 and a Fez. That new Lily's card basically gave them a 15 card hand because they did draw 8, Dracloak for 1, Dracloak for 1, Fez for 3. It's going to be, that's going to be where it sees the most play, personal opinion.
Agreed.
Tim, what about you? You're still on mute, buddy.
You're muted. Mute.
All right, so I would agree. I have a hard time seeing where the majority of decks this is going to see play in, other than Dragapult. I could see a one of and maybe Terapagos, but like again, if I'm playing Terapagos, I'd rather just Iono or Eevee. I'd rather just Iono your hand, disrupt your hand. But it's nice when you don't want to necessarily disrupt your opponent's hand, and you want to shuffle draw versus discard draw. So I can see that being a good one of in a Terapagos or Eevee like a Noctowl deck. I'm curious to see if Gardevoir picks it up, but this Gardevoir likes to discard and Gardevoir likes to Iono, so I don't necessarily.
Right, I don't think Guardy will play it. I think Grimmsnarl could play it.
Grimmsnarl, Miraidon could play it, but Miraidon really wants the quad balls. So,
well, honestly,
right.
I think, my opinion, like Tiger said with the Dragapult example, real quick before I lose this thought, sequencing is key. Like I've learned that with different decks, Goldango, Chimpao. Obviously, it's a lot heavier in other decks. If you sequence right and you pull things out, you still have those 6 cards going into, say, turn 4 or 5. You've pulled everything out. Now you're finally ready to get the pieces to get the 4 or 6 prize turn. I mean, that's 8 cards that you know you can, I don't want to say you can count on, but you can know what's left, your chances, your probability of grabbing, and know, all right, I'm getting 8. There's got to be a way I get the 2 out of the 8 versus any other engine. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the stronger point in ranking.
Yeah, that's pretty on point with it. The only other thing, a lot of decks that play like a one of research because they play search decks like Pidgeot or Noctowl that play like a one of research, they could also swap it to a one of this card as well. Just because like the shuffle draw 1 less than just discard your hand. I personally love a one of research and Charizard just because like the first couple turns, if you play out everything, you kind of just sit there, and I don't always want to Iono my opponent. But like on turn 2, after I went double candy, blah blah blah, Charizard Pidgeot, and now I can Pidgeot, I can go get a research and discard the last couple cards that might be useful in my hand, just because I need a better hand for the rest of the game. Or playing one of these that'll still get me 6 to 8 cards even in the middle of the game is sometimes better than just like, all right, I need something. Iono, here you go.
Yeah.
Draw 3 cards.
I hope for it. Right.
Um,
I agree.
So as a one of extra draw card, I think it could see a lot more play. It's going to be like the one of where people were like throwing Morty's Conviction into random decks just because it was an extra draw card.
Agreed. Pretty confident that covers that one. The other things we were talking about, the spec art, the Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, we'll throw them up there somewhere. Everybody's seen them by now. I think they're beautiful. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Important reprints is the last thing I got on new cards. Since like I said, we're running on time, that's for sure. Bosses, Orders, Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, and E-Switch being Energy Switch. So those cards will stay in format for quite some time now. Boss's Orders.
We got
is probably
3 more
the
years
biggest,
of them.
Yeah, Boss's Orders is probably the biggest one I see out of that. RC, I think, has always been around for the most part.
Though
And
there's ups and downs to having Boss still in the format. It is good to have Gusting because that's how you chase down your prize cards. But the fact that we just have a static boss for game is a lot of people's win con. Is just takes the play out of it. It's like, oh no, did my Fez plus my Jercloak plus my whatever find me a boss? If not, I just lose. Because we have plenty of other Gust in format that people can just deal with. We have Lich's Appeal, is boss, but for basics, and they get confused. We have Counter Catcher, we have Pokemon Catcher, we have Prime Catcher. Who we could even bring out like a Mega Catcher with the new stuff. The static, no drawback Gust is too strong in a format, especially when we have 3 prize Pokemon coming. Ultra Ball, that's fine. We need static draw search power. Discard 2, find 1. That's balanced. Rare Candy, that should always be in format. Energy Switch, I don't really care.
I mean, it just means
Anybody else's
I
thoughts on
think
that one?
Bolt. I think Bolt just gets
That's the
better if he
same
stays good with it.
I have the same opinion. I just think it's silly that we have Boss again. Honestly, it just makes me wonder if they're gonna phase research out. I don't actually think they're gonna phase research out either at this point. They're just waiting until the new professor gets revealed for ZA Legend ZA. But it's just, as someone who's only played since Battle Styles, it's really frustrating. Go, oh, boss, I win. So I'd like to see you have to play around and have more strategy in the game to actually get your win conditions. Like that's why I like Control, because Control, it's not an auto win deck. You have to play for the deck out. And so like and then like as a Guardy player, I had to be able to like navigate my matchup in that, because there's a win, but it was more difficult to reach. I would like to see more difficult reach, because it's especially against Grimstar. It's so frustrating. Oh, boss for game. Being able, like, that's where the Lieutenant Surge can become more powerful, and it's almost useless in a format where we can just go boss for game.
Yep.
I will say I'll step in here a little bit on that, but one, I'm totally fine. Like if Boss kind of went away, I'd be totally fine with it. We've been playing a little bit shorter than you, but ultimately Boss has always been here, and you're right. It's an easy one. However, looking back to pre-F rotation, Luminion to Boss game, like at least now Boss is a little more balanced, because you can't just auto win with that. So you still do have to kind of find it. I mean, yeah, you got Poke Gear, you can find it, stuff like that. But yeah, but not quite as broken as it was with the Luminion.
For the past handful of formats, we've had supporter search based cards. We've had the what the heck did we just have? Luminion. That was our newest one. But before that, we had Tapu Lele GX. We've had these Pokemon that just find you a supporter off of an Ultra Ball. So And if you're going to keep, they're reprinting Ultra Ball and Boss. I assume that we will be getting a support Pokemon that finds our supporter again.
Probably. And the other thing that I was thinking about too, that it's just kind of surprised me is most of the time they're keeping these things on steady rotation. You've got professors of research. You're pretty much always getting some variation of. It's been a minute since we got Professor and Boss, so it kind of felt like they were phasing out Boss, and then they just threw
Well,
it
they
right back
said
at
that
us.
they were going to get away from static abilities.
Yeah,
They didn't want Boss anymore. They didn't want
Yep.
research anymore. But the Cryonos of the Pokemon universe decided that they needed their bosses to play the game.
Yep.
Which, whatever, fine. Just maybe we can start adding limits to cards. I know that's kind of a Yu-Gi-Oh thing, but like, if Boss's Order becomes a limited to 2 card, I don't know how many people would cry that much about it. We would just have to play, because who says you can't do 2 bosses, a Pal Pad and a Prime Catcher? Oh no, I can't have 4 boss in my deck. My Pal Pad just gave me 4 bosses.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's really it on the new stuff. I mean, definitely got a lot of good stuff covered on that. But, like I said, we're already at an hour 42. This will be the longest episode, guys. That's for sure.
This will be the longest episode we've done.
Yeah. So we were gonna cover some Monterey and Pitt stuff. Pitt is still open as it was about an hour and a half ago.
Yep.
So if you haven't signed up, sign up. But we'll cover that in our next episode. I think we'll go over Monterey and Pittsburgh caps and compare the two. We'll actually have a cap on Pittsburgh by then, versus what we have at Monterey. So we'll actually be able to tell the difference. It looks like Monterey's half the size as Pitt. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I know these two are going to do some Worlds prep. I don't know if that still happens tonight, but here soon they're going to. I think it was a goal for 100 matches, is what Tim said he wanted to do. I don't know what that
I
meant.
gotta get 100. Like, even if it's not with Tiger, I've already got about 30 games in this week.
So there it is.
Cool.
So we got to get to that 100 mark for him. I know the idea of I tasked him with recording it. Even if I got to sit up here, if they're playing on Discord, and I'll record it. I want to get that recorded, and we'll have it like casted over. Hopefully, Landon, our new team caster, can maybe hop on there with me and even Tiger, maybe with the whole get some practice.
Friday night for sure. I could probably stream some games.
Yeah, and that's another possibility too. So look out for that. This will be coming out Friday during the day. So if you see this on Friday, look out for Tim to do some stream on Friday. You guys got anything else?
Right.
Like I said, I know it's time. I'm the late body. I'd stay up all night. That's fine. But I know you guys might have stuff to do.
No, I'm good. If as long as Tim's ready to get some games in, so that was my next goal.
Yep, let's get a couple games in before I go to bed.
All right,
All
Troy.
right, well then that's going to be it for the.
Yeah, I was to say, Troy hasn't been here for a while. Let's let him sign off again.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's great being back. Good hanging out with you guys today. And, absolutely loved every time we get to be on here. It's just a lot of fun being out here with friends and getting to check in and chat with all of you guys. So thank you all for coming out. Have a great time. We'll see you next week and stay lucky.
Stay lucky.
Stay lucky.